Hey guys, this is Commander Matthew, and before we start this episode of TREKBACK Tuesday, I want to tell you about my Star Trek podcast. Trek Untold is a weekly interview series where we chat with character actors, stunt performers, writers, directors, and behind-the-scenes people who make the Star Trek universe go at warp speed. Our show is about putting the spotlight on folks who aren't normally in the spotlight. It's about the people who have contributed to Star Trek but aren't in the opening credits of the show. You might not know their names or recognize their faces at first, but I guarantee after you hear our discussions with them, you're going to never forget them again. If you're a fan of not only Star Trek history, but also cinema and television, as well as the entertainment industry and all sorts of other things, you're going to really enjoy hearing this podcast. We're not just discussing appearances on TV shows with these actors, we're discussing acting theory, or we're talking to prop makers and behind-the-scenes crew and discussing how things work that we don't ever see on camera. Each episode is a deep dive into the profession of what these folks do, and you're going to really enjoy hearing their stories. You can check it out on whatever Apple device you're using, whether it's a phone or a pad, or you can listen to it on your favorite Android device. If you want to learn more about Trek Untold, make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And it's available on most major podcast platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and many more. Check us out this coming Thursday for our latest episode, and until then, fortune favors the bold.
Hi, this is Captain Andrea.
This is Commander Matthew.
And welcome to TREKBACK Tuesday.
This is the show that explores time and space to seek out new and old Trek merchandise from across the galaxy. So today we're looking at a piece from Diamond Select Toys from 2009. That's the Star Trek IV The Voyage Home 2-pack of Captain Kirk and Commander Spock. So Captain, you may recall in a past video we looked at one of the Diamond Select starships.
Yes.
And we were talking about a movie, and we actually went and made fun of Star Trek IV, calling it one of the not as good ones.
Yes.
The internet was not happy, and they were rightfully so, because we had what we call an intergalactic brain fart. It happens from deep space travel.
Yes.
We confused it with 5.
I dig 4. I think it's a lot better than we and other people give it credit for.
It's a lot of fun watching Kirk and Spock, and pretty much the entire crew running around in contemporary San Francisco.
And whales.
And whales.
Don't forget the whales.
And whales.
And whales.
And double dumbass on you if you don't like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our 2-pack. We've never looked, I don't think, at a 2-pack from Diamond Select, and this is an interesting era for these figures, in fact. So let's go talk about the front real quick. There's nothing to say. It's a big window. You see everything that's on it. Cool. Well, let's talk about the back.
The back is really interesting. You have a brief little bio, if you even want to call it that.
I mean, it's a brief description of what Star Trek is, as if you didn't already know.
Yeah, exactly. It's not much of anything. But then you have a look at some of the other waves that were coming out. And here's where things get interesting. The one that I personally automatically went to was the one up here, which is the original series wave number 5. And you have Doc McCoy, you have Kirk, but then you also have Yeoman Rand and Nurse Chapel. I don't remember ever seeing those figures, and I would have loved to.
Yes, 2009 was a cursed year for Star Trek fans and Diamond Select, because, in fact, at that toy fair, they revealed a ton of amazing items. None of them got released. The line at that point died.
That's not right.
Yeah, the line would shift and change away from this, more or less. But yeah, that was the same year we saw, for example, the Salt Monster was displayed. We had a Season 1 Cisco and a Gul Dukat 2-pack, which looked great.
I've heard of that, yes.
We had also, speaking of Cisco, we had Cisco in the Defiant Command Chair. There was a lot of good stuff that did not come out that was on display that year at Toy Fair. So 2009, rough year for Trek fans, but at least we got Star Trek IV.
Ooh, I would have been happy if we'd gotten some whales.
That's an odd thing to say.
If you're gonna make a 2-pack, you might as well add some whales to it.
Sure.
You're saying you wouldn't have had fun with a little package to make the movie more realistic?
I mean, you're gonna need to have it in scale, aren't you? So it's gonna have to be like the size of this deck.
No, you make it like the size of the package. A little bigger packaging. It's all good. It's fine. They would have figured it out.
And you guys can also see there's these ultimate quarter scale edition figures. They're basically larger scale figures. I don't think those ever made it out either. I don't even know if those were shown off at Toy Fair, to be honest. I don't recall those, but as far as I know, that also didn't come out. So that one might not be the worst, though.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me if it didn't make it out, though. I don't really think there's much left to say about them in package. So, Commander Matthew, please beam them out.
Hi, Captain. Figures are on the deck, Captain.
And what mighty interesting figures these are.
So this is them in their costumes designed by Robert Fletcher for Star Trek IV. I always kind of liked the costumes. They were weird. It's like civilian clothes, basically, but I kind of liked them.
Yeah, they're not bad.
In an ugly sort of way.
Yeah. For what they were and for the time period, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's like the most 80s style of futuristic look, I guess. I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, Kirk is wearing, I guess, what you'd wear at Earth at the time, and Spock is still wearing his Vulcan robes because he's still trying to learn who he is.
Yeah.
With his ears covered up also, should add, that's of course there.
Well, yeah, because no one can know.
So what do we think about the likenesses?
Oof. These are really weird. I'm going to talk about Spock first. I think the Spock likeness is actually not that bad. What I really like about it is they captured the lines on his face. They got his cheekbones. There's even the little bit of lines right by his eyes. You know, and I think by doing that, it really captured Leonard Nimoy. You know, they got a good essence of him. But moving over to Kirk, that face is just... No, that's way too smooth. There's almost a doughiness to the face. You know, there's just something not right about it.
Yeah, it's too smoothed down because, granted, he's not like he's super old in that movie.
No.
But he's an older man at that point, and so yeah, his face had more lines and wrinkles to it, and you know, it's not even that it should be wrinkly or old looking. It's just, yeah, they made it very smooth and very rounded to the point where it doesn't look as much like him.
He reminds me a little bit of, I believe it's Robert Wuhl from Tim Burton's Batman. He was the reporter. Like, the forehead is just off. The forehead and eyes
forehead.
Yeah, there's just something funky about it.
I think it's too much forehead. The eyes are just not shaped correctly for Shatner.
Yeah, and it's too smooth.
Yeah. Now, I was actually just talking to a sculptor recently who works on Star Trek toys or had worked on them in the past, and he was talking to me about Shatner's face, in fact, being a little difficult to make sometimes. Because his face has got all these little smooth bits, but it's also kind of round and chunkier too.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of challenging bits to his face, and I think this was not really the best version of him they could have done.
I'll be honest, I would have been happier if they had used a younger version of Shatner. Because before Shatner put on some of the weight, like the first season Shatner, oh my god, like he was, you know,
yeah,
he was that average Hollywood leading man kind of vibe. I would have rather they did that than try to create something that just doesn't look like him.
No, and on that note, Spock is the better of the two, but I still don't think Spock is actually that good.
I mean, he's not great, but I do like him. I can accept this Spock.
Yeah, I can accept it. They've done better Spocks for sure, but I can accept it. The Kirk, though, is...
no.
I could... Yeah.
Yeah, the
it needs
Kirk
a second pass.
Some needs to go in there and just, like, Shatner it up.
But as I said earlier, I do like the costumes. I like some detail on them. There's, like, you can check out on his sleeve. It's got some good detail. And the shirt, even the shirt pattern, it's a very unique look. Same thing with Spock. They both have very unique outfits, and I think they look pretty good and pretty close to being movie accurate.
Yeah. I can't complain about any of that, yeah.
In terms of articulation, we've got ourselves a ball-jointed head, along with you can see there, that giant elongated neck that Shatner has for some reason. A lot of motion from that. His neck is way too long.
Look at that profile.
It definitely sticks out.
Woo, look at that profile. It definitely sticks out, but when you have him down, when you have it down a little bit more centered, it's not that bad. I would rather there be a slightly longer neck and a proportionate head than no neck and too small a head or too big a head. I'd much rather this than some of the other stuff that we've reviewed.
I'd rather they get it right.
I'd rather that too.
Yeah. We've got ourselves ball-jointed shoulders, and I should have had this Kirk here. He's been through the ringer.
He's been doing a little too many chops.
This arm is all right. This arm just happened to be kind of loose, but whatever. We've got bicep swivel. We do have an elbow. Uh-oh, this looks like it's going to be a stiff one out the box. Well, it didn't make the noise because there's actually no paint on it, because these are just basically straight out of the mold, I think. That's just plastic. That's just the plastic sound, so that's at least cool. And the wrists move left and right. Is there waist articulation, though? No. There's no waist articulation on this figure. Or actually, there is a little bit of waist articulation, but it's very limited because of his outfit, and his waist articulation is underneath the jacket, so that's why it's hindered. And he does have just straight up and down legs. We have a thigh swivel with bending knees, and a pretty nice ball joint on the ankles, but it's also fairly stiff. But poor Spock over here, he's got...
Ooh, he is limited.
It's very limited because of that robe, so I don't even think his waist will turn. I mean, basically, you don't get any of the legs. Oh, so they actually did. They actually did make the waist turn, though, so that's good.
Yeah, I think because they realized that his legs weren't going to be able to move, that they had to do something different.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, you could... Yeah, not much you can do with Spock here. I mean, you can get him in that really nice Spock pose. He's just, being a Vulcan, Vulcaning it up.
He looks like he's about to start a fight. He looks like he's about to do some kind of Vulcan martial arts.
Susmana.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, you can't move those legs at all because this robe completely covers them. So, meh, at least he stands up straight.
Yes.
And they both stand up straight, so kudos on that. No problems there.
That's always a good thing, when you can get him to at least pose a little bit. Moving on to accessories, we have a phaser.
Which I will arm Kirk with.
Yes, please do.
And his hand just so happens to have actually a trigger finger for that phaser.
Ooh. We have a communicator.
Should also fit in his other hand, and yes, perfect fit.
Oh,
Look at how
wow.
good that looks. Yeah.
That looks amazing.
And this is, a communicator from the movie, so it's a little bit different from what you've seen in the shows, but, all together now, it actually looks very good, and it fits perfectly in his hand.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We rarely get that. And for Spock, he does get one accessory. It's the one we all know and love. He gets an extra hand.
So why don't you go ahead and pop that hand out, Captain? Let's see if it fits.
Yep, got it.
Oh my god, Captain.
Yep. I'm trying not to think of that.
That is an odd choice of plastic to use here. Diamond Select, we need to have a talk.
And there you have it. He's given you that good old-fashioned live long and prosper.
Yes, we all know it so well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not really many Star Trek 4 figures.
Yeah.
In fact, this actually might be it for Star Trek 4 figures.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't. Yeah, I'm actually positive Playmates never touched that movie at all.
Yeah.
No one else has. And as far as figures of the other characters in the movie, no.
Yeah.
This is it. So if you really like Star Trek 4 and you want to have something to commemorate it with, this is your only option.
Yay.
Yeah. It's not the worst. It's not the best.
It's a good middle-of-the-road pack.
It's a pair of figures.
It is a pair of figures.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think I'd be a little bit nicer about it. They're not bad. They're not great. They're not bad. They're fine. Just, they're fine.
It seems to be the best we can say is that it's fine.
It's fine.
This is fine.
Fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Everything is fine.
Mm-hmm. Fine.
We're fine.
Yep.
This
They're
is fine.
They're fine.
They're fine. That's pretty much our review of Kirk and Spock here from the Voyage home.
They're fine.
Yeah, there's really nothing else to say because, the faces are not the greatest, but it gets the job done. It scratches that itch and at least gives you some merch for that movie. So,
Yeah.
for that point, it's worth hunting down. Otherwise, if you're not a completionist, you're not trying to get something from the movies or whatever, probably worth passing because this is, I think, one of the little bit more elusive sets to get as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's worth the hunt unless you're like super hardcore.
I'll agree with that assessment.
So that's our look at the Diamond Select 2-pack of Kirk and Spock from the Voyage home from 2009. Sad time.
Yeah, what we've just learned is very depressing.
Yeah, it's a sad time for Diamond Select, unfortunately. But, they'd come back and make more stuff soon after that. So.
Oh yeah, they've rallied back.
Totally. I wish they would come back to do more toys like this.
I would love that.
Yeah, so hopefully, and I know fans want to see it, but as we've learned from toy companies, they don't want to do it. They think it's a risk.
Yeah.
So who knows when we'll ever get new Star Trek figures again, even with all the stuff that's happening these days. But you can at least still find these guys fairly easily.
Yeah. Well, if you think that some of these toy companies should take more of a risk on Star Trek, please sound off below because it would be great to show the different companies as we're talking to them. Tell them, hey, fans are asking for this. Maybe you would at least consider making maybe a limited run or something. Get a little bit more product out there. Comment below, hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Let's talk about it.
Let's make Star Trek toys happen again.
Yes. And with that, I'm Captain Andrea.
I'm Commander Matthew. We'll see you next time here on TREKBACK Tuesday on Nerd News Today. Until then, live long and buy toys.